Hi, this is Scrapping Amy with One Mommy Scrapping, where I'm planning for happy memories. Today, I am finally going to get started building the foundation pages for my December album. Let's get started. Okay, so these we're going to set off to the side. I know what I meant to do. Hold on one second. Well, I said I'd be right back for you guys, and it was like 3 hours my time, so let me see if I can put in my head back what I was trying to do here. I wanted to show you the dies that I would be using. This is the same one if you watched my series last year, the Keepsake Bookmaker Simple Spines die set. I don't know it's a set because it's only one die, but you know, whatever. This is this die right here. It cuts out enough to do 3 pages. These has little notches, and those are where you end up gluing it together, and it forms like a little peak. And then the pages of your book actually get attached to those. It will make more sense when I show you when I do the spine and covers. And then these two, I know for sure Tonic Studios gave to me last year at Creativation 2020. I'm pretty sure they gave me this one too, but I can't really remember, so I'm just going to say that they did, and you know, all's good. The one thing I'm using out of this is their decorative clips and tabs die set. They have all these little dies to make paper clips and then some tabs. And so this one is the one I'm using for this particular project. And this is the Life's Journey Keepsake Base Creator die set. This is where all of my base pages are coming from. So what is essentially the bones of the book. Is cut from this die right here. And what's neat about this particular set compared to the other ones, I call this my square memory book. I've got square, I've got a ticket, I've got brackets, and I got a curved square. Is in my head, I'm like, I'm not writing Life's Journey, Keepsake, blah, 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 700 times. So these dies, they have a base layer, which is what I cut the black in, and then they have a matting layer, which is the scalloped. And the base layer only cuts on these 3 sides. It leaves this open, which I can't talk, which lets you create longer pages and gives you plenty of room to attach the spine. Plus, when it's longer, I cut this cover out, left the side open so that this is actually attached as part of the cover, which means when I go to put the spine in, I don't have any seams or anything along there, which is really nice, and it makes it a little sturdier. Most, all the base pages use this die. A lot of the other pages will use this die or one of the others from the set. Today's pages are, these 3 are cut out of that matting layer. It will end up obviously trimmed down, but will form a pocket. And so that's at about a 7-inch page. The next one are about 6-inch pages, and that's what I did here. I put it down, ran it through, and then I flipped it over so that it's one solid thing. I've got a seam down the middle. Well, not a seam, but I've got a spot where I'll score down the middle to make that book. And then these 6-inch matting layers I cut from here. And then it has a 5-inch matting layer, which I don't use very often because that's very small. Oh, but it's there, and I have used it on occasion. This is actually longer than 7 inches. So even with the, let me just pull this one out, it's right here. So this is actually a good thing though, because then I don't have to have this part to make memory book pages. I could just cut out whatever size cardstock I wanted. So this, when I make it, it ends up getting trimmed down so it can be the right size. So thank you, Tonic Studios, for supplying these dies for me. I am very excited to be using them. And now, let's get back to actually assembling things. When I left, this was actually a smooth corner like this, and then I was like, wait a second, if I do that, it's gonna cover up this. And I know it's crooked, that's not a big deal to me. So I went through and took out that 7-inch layer and cut it again so that way it actually matches this. Now, this is out of 300 GSM, and if you look, I can't remember if I said this in the earlier part or one of the parts I've deleted. This is cut out of 300 GSM. It's thicker, and I have a note on there to cut thinner because this is going to have a pocket in that's going to be in and out a lot. Because it's the first one, I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as that thicker, the thicker cardstock. And then this is obviously goes right here. Alright, so I am going to use some of the tonic, what do they call this? Tacky glue. I emailed, I can't remember if I said this on my video, my organization video or not. I emailed Tonic Studios to go, what's the difference between this and this? This is tacky glue, but, you know, I mean, it's glue by definition, it's tacky. And they wrote me back and said one of the biggest differences is that this doesn't dry clear. So it'll dry kind of white-ish. I mean, it's not going to be like, hey, putting hold on. I can't talk and line things up apparently. Weirdly, lining up and when they're cut from the exact same thing is one of the hardest things I have a lot of trouble with it. Alright, now I'm just going to trim it down so it is about 3 inches. Oh, nope, a little less than 3 inches because 2 3/4 inches. The 3 inches, I still had some empty stuff there. Okay. Can't tell. I am not feeling so great. I have bronchitis, and so if I'm spacier than normal, that would be why. Now, when this forms the pocket, I really do prefer to put cardstock on the back because not everybody has the same respect, shall we say, for memory books that, you know, other people have. And especially this one. I kind of want to just go through and put pins in all of my glue bottles like this. I've thought about, you know what would be awesome is a holster. Like, well, not necessarily a holster like you wear in your waist or anything, but something that kind of like the bottle holder for the Nuvo drops, where you can just invert it. I would like that for all of my liquid glues. Alright, and then here comes where I have trouble yet again with matching things up. Alright, so I've been asked before, why not use ATG? Why not use the scoreline tape, which is what I tend to use a lot of as well when it comes to making pockets. And the reason I don't want to use those things is because this stuff remains sticky. So if I put the book in far enough that it comes in contact with that stickiness, it's going to pull on it. The liquid glue will dry every single time, so I don't have to worry about that. So this page is ready to be attached. I do want to put on something sparkly, and I was like, you know what? I should get out and just cut some slivers of my glitter paper. I went, and I was like, well, you know, I have these. Why can't I use these? The problem I have with these is that these tend to be smaller than 7 inches. So For larger strips, I'm just going to pull out my glittery washi tape. Pick this up at, what is? Pick this up at Hobby Lobby last year. And really liked it. Last year? The year before? I don't even know when I picked it up. Couldn't have been last year because last year was COVID. Right? Yeah? I don't know. That's what happens too when you realize all your stuff's gone. We just emptied the trash. And so all the little scrap papers that I would normally pull out for this exact purpose are not there. I will put this on a little longer than normal. And then I will just go back and trim it. Okay, now I'm getting everything all twisted. How do I manage to twist washi tape? Come on. There we go. No, and this is why I chose the art glitter glue, because I knew I'd screw this up, and art glitter glue dries clear. I want to make sure I can get it all the way up to the edge. There we go. There we go. There we go. Rip. Okay. All right. And that's now done. Next up is going to be doing the scores for the center part. So we pull out this little guy. Alright. And to be completely honest, I'm absolute rubbish using this small scoreboard. Really am. See? Yep, see? Too far over. So I don't even know why I got out the scoreboard. Because clearly I'm not even going to use it. Oh, see, and it's still off. I hate that. So is it off this way? Yes. Okay, no, you're too long. So we need to go over here. Let's see if I can do that. If it doesn't work, then I will just end up cutting this again. Come on. There we go. Like that. Like that. There we are. Does that work? It's not perfect, but it works. Close enough. Okay. My plan is to have stripes on the outside portion and then do the stockings on the inside. Now, I happened to have picked a paper where there we go. Where if I wanted to do larger stockings in skinnier stripes, I could easily do that. My thought was this will end up having photos or some type of journaling on it. Therefore, the spots that are going to get covered up, the stuff you don't see, I wanted it to be a smaller pattern so you would actually be able to tell, be more likely to be able to tell what it is. And didn't I just have like my 1/4 inch tape? Oh, no, I didn't. I have 1/8 of an inch. Okay. do a lot more with score tape instead of ATG when it comes to the interior of it. And I think it's because it gives me a little more wiggle room. I would say is one way to put it. Because then with the with it having the backing on it, I don't have to worry about setting things in it, and by things I mean myself, you know, because how many times have I been like, oh, oops, I got it on me. Oh, now it's stuck to me again. Okay. Here we go. And that one can just go right there. And this is the other thing. I can use my bone folder to flatten everything to make sure that all the little air bubbles are out, which you can't do, obviously, with that. And I've noticed, as much as I love my ATG, it does not always oh, I did put that on first. Okay. Lost my words. It doesn't always adhere like all the way to it. So before I put this on, we put the needle back in there. Let me grab the tab that I wanted to do. Here it is. So not stripes. There we go, is that one. And that one. Oh gracious, now I can't get everything picked up. Come on. Okay, so when it comes to doing the tabs, the very first tab I think I used was, if you noticed in the set I showed you, there was one that was key shaped, and I liked it so much, but it was really, really thin. And if it's really, really thin, that means that it's very fragile, and it ripped. When it ripped, I made it work for what I was using it for, but that's when I realized this is really not going to be as secure as I want it to be. Let's pull out the centering ruler and see if we can get it as close to center as we can. And that's gonna work. Okay. It was after that ripped that I started, well, okay, that doesn't matter. It was after it ripped that I started to put some cardstock, do a cardstock layer in the middle. And it took some trial and error, because if you notice, and I can't tell if you didn't, definitely can't tell with the glue on it, but I trimmed cut it in half, and then I trimmed it down a little bit. And the reason I trimmed it down a little bit is to give that fold space, because otherwise it ends up bulging a little bit, and you don't, it doesn't line up, and you end up seeing the cardstock then through it. And this is what I was worried that I had forgotten, and I was like, wait a second, I don't have, a lot of that's getting covered up, so it doesn't matter. And the part that's not, I can still see to do. Oh, I can put that right there. Okay. Next thing I also want to put down before I put any of the layers in are the magnets. So these are small magnets that I purchased from Amazon. They're a little thicker than what I would prefer, to be completely honest, but they work. And that's what counts. So, let's see. This is the one I want. We'll get some red line tape. And I have gone round and around with magnets before, trying to get them to line up, and then being annoyed when I could never get them to line up. And at Creativation, Jody Johnson, who was demoing these, she's like, oh no, do it this way. And I went, oh my gosh, how am I that stupid? But it happens, even to the best of us. So I want to put this far enough in that I know the layers are going to cover it. I leave the other side of it on. Just have to remove the red line. And close it. And open it. And now it all lines up. Like, that's like common sense, isn't it? Apparently not if you're me. Alright, now let's, you know what, I think I'm going to just switch to this glue for right now. I like the tacky glue, but I just refilled this bottle, so there is no fighting to get it out, if you know what I mean. Remember to put that in my poutine tray so I do not lose it. Losing it is why I ended up with this white one, because I said, excuse me, I am going to mess this up. And I need some extras. So I went and got some extras. They're a lot shorter. Oh, shoot, I forgot I had this part here. And I've done that before too, where I have completely glued something down and left a piece of the backing on. Yeah. As my sister would tell me, well, at least you're pretty. Like, well, that's condescending, but yeah, at least I'm pretty. Okay. Alrighty. Now, I was like, let's see if I can do it without getting white glue on the other side. Shockingly, did not get glue on it there. Right, and glue around this outside edge. So the sticky, the score tape is in there just to hold it in until the glue dries. Once the liquid glue is there, it actually does a better job of adhering. Alright, now this is where I tend to mess up, which you wouldn't know if I hadn't have just told you. It's making things line up that makes me nervous. Okay. Ta-da! So now you pull this out and you've got a little book to open. Now, the inside, we're having an eruption right here, which I think, I said it before, but I really do think that has something to do with like pressure changes in the weather. I've told that to people and they're like, you're crazy. And I'm like, am I though? Am I? Because if the pressure is low, was low the last time I used the glue, And it's now high. When I open it up, the pressure on the outside of the bottle is higher, potentially, than the pressure inside the bottle. Therefore, the higher pressure places pressure on the outside and makes it come out. I don't know. This is what it's like to live in my head, by the way. These are the types of things I think about on a regular basis. All right, stabby tool, go away. All right, here we go. One side, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Sure, so this one's going over there. And now we're going to take up the backing. Go on the edge. Oh, I think I started explaining. Never quite finished. So with the scalloped edges, they will go in and out of that pocket a lot. And so I like to try to get liquid glue on the outside of the die stitching, little decorative element, just to make sure that it's not going to like go in the pocket part way. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Oh, come on now. Let's try it like this. This worked really well with the other side. Line it up against that. And that's still too far. There we go. That works. Okay. And let's just take all this off ahead of time. Okay, lid in the glue. This can be trimmed. All right. So what we now have is the pocket for our very first page. So here's something that I did not take account for, is that the size of this is bigger than my previous one. So those are going to stick out. I am okay with that though. I really am, because that's one of the things I like a lot about a memory book versus page protectors in an album. I like all this stuff that's, ruffled and sticking out, the tactileness of it. It just makes me happy. It does. All right, so this is day 1 and day 2. Whoop. Day 2. Ooh, I didn't think that one through. Oh no, that works. It can go in like that. Yes, there we go. So this will be day 1. We'll say that there, and then day 2 can go on the inside. Or I can flip it around and do it like that if I want to. Although probably not, because when it flips around like this, I don't have a safe edge there. So yes, it shall be like this. I like how I declared that, like I'm some queen or something. I am the Queen of Spain. Alright, there we go. So, this will end up getting glued down, which I will do when I go to put the cover. This is actually just going to go directly on the inside of the cover and not on a separate page. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love if you would give it a like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And tell me, how are you doing as our holiday begins? Because this is Thanksgiving Day as I'm filming this. And I am actually excited to do this album, especially with this one there to guide me. So you guys, blah, blah, don't know what was that. I hope you guys all have a lovely day, and I'll see you later. Bye.